Okay, so we are recording. Can you all hear me? Everybody? Okay, good. I can only see Richard and Jennifer right now, so and that's okay. If you if you don't want to be seen, go ahead and disable your camera. Well, what I thought we'd do tonight is, and I've done this now every class that I teach, and I just like to sort of review what the expectations are for the final project. And I have like 18 different tips that I'm going to give you that I think will be really helpful. And then at the end of that, we'll open this up and we can talk about the project, or we can talk about anything else that you might want to talk about. So when we're finished, go ahead and unmute and we'll go from there. Also, if you want, you can text as well, or send a note, and I'll see that if you have a question and you don't want to say anything. So at the end of this, I will go ahead and send a link to everybody in class so they can see this and you can review it if you think that it's valuable. So let me pull up my document here and we'll get started. So the idea is for this class that you're going to be doing a marketing plan. And my guess is that probably none of you have done them. That's usually the case. Some folks do work in marketing and may be familiar with them, but it is a big project and it can be intimidating. But if you start now, I think that if you chunk it and start doing smaller parts, it will make sense. And as you get to those questions, just shoot me an email or call me, and I'm more than happy to review with you what it is that's causing you some confusion, and we'll work through it and you'll do real well on it. But don't wait until week 6 or 7 and then call me up and go, I'm lost, because we just lost too much time at that point. So stay proactive. The first thing is make sure that when you use the marketing plan outline, that you use the one that's located in the doc sharing folder. I'm holding mine up now. Let me see if I can. Okay, yep, you got it. You got it. That's the one you want to see and use, not the one in your book. That's really confusing. It's a good one, but it's not the one that we're going to be using for this class. You can refer to that if you want to sort of see a different perspective, but make sure that you use that marketing plan outline. And all you really need to do is populate it. On the right-hand column, there's a pages, and all that means is that it's recommended. It's usually about that many pages for that section. So for example, the executive summary is 1.0. That means it's typically a page long. The company description, about a half a page. But when you create your table of contents, you're going to put the actual page number behind that. Does that make sense? Okay. When you create your document, please, please, please insert your last name into the name of the document. It'll just be easier. You're going to call me up and you're going to say, hey, can we look over my document? And if I have 37 documents that are all named the same, it'll take us 20 minutes to find yours. So just insert your name into it somewhere. Make sure that you fill out all of the sections in that document. I need you to fill everyone out. If you're stuck on one, give me a shout and we'll talk about it. The other thing I've already mentioned, and not that anybody did anything wrong yet in this regard, but the marketing plan needs to be written in third person. And so I didn't deduct points because I wasn't asking you to do that with the proposal, but and it shouldn't have been in third person. But when you write the marketing plan, you don't use our, we, and I. You're sort of imagine yourself as an outside consultant that's writing the plan for this company. So that's 4 things so far. We talked about the template. We talked about using your last name in the document. I want you to fill out all of the sections, and please write the plan in third person, not first. Tip number 5, and I'm going to share a story for this one. In the discussion posts, you can use slang and you can sort of be informal with that. But when you're writing a document like this, you do want to be formal. And I want you to really consider that you're representing yourself when you write this. So really edit it, proof it, make sure that it's grammatically correct, fix your punctuation errors and things like that. And the story I wanted to tell you was, I don't know how many people on this call even remember Henry Kissinger, but he was a Secretary of State for President Nixon. And this is supposedly a true story. He had a speechwriter that came to him with a speech that Henry was going to give, and Henry accepted it, and he called the speechwriter who had an office nearby, and he said, "Hey, is this the best you can do?" The speechwriter, he came back in and he said, "Wow, you weren't happy with it?" Well, he said, is that the best you can do? So he went and rewrote it, took it back to Henry Kissinger. Henry Kissinger says, "Is this the best you can do?" Now the guy's demoralized. He goes back, he rewrites it. He comes back into the office. He puts the speech in the desk. He says, "Henry, if this is the best I can do, if you need it done better than this, please get somebody else to write it." And supposedly Henry Kissinger looked up at him and says, "Okay, now I'll read it." So the point being, give it your best effort. Somebody's loud here. Let me just see something. Felicia, I just muted your mic because it's pretty loud and a little disruptive. So I'll open it up towards the end. Okay, so please proof and edit. Point number 6, please use your APA formatting. If you don't have this book, get it. This is the APA manual. It's version number 6. Mine is all dog-eared up. I've got things hanging out of it, tabs. It'll save you a lot of grief. And so I want you to use that in the sense that, especially when it comes to citations, you need to cite your work accurately, and so make sure you utilize that book if you have it. If you don't, I'd invest in one.
What was the name of it again?
It's APA it's the manual, the APA manual called Publication Manual. It's the 6th edition. Also, you have in your doc sharing or somewhere, I think I have it in the announcements, I talk about APA formatting, and I give you a link so you can go online and you can also research specific things in that regard. And that brings me to number 7, which is really about referencing. If you use somebody else's work, I need you to cite it. DeVry is extremely serious about this, especially with the online learning, because it's really easy to plagiarize. So anything that even smells like it, it's a real serious thing, and you could not only flunk the final assignment, but the whole course. So when in doubt, cite. If you don't know how to cite, reach out to me, because what's going to happen is you're going to submit everything through Turnitin, and that's going to give us all a report. You'll be able to see it. I can see it. And if I see numbers like 35%, I've had some as high as 60% duplication, then we start looking at it and we say, what's duplicated? If it's cited, 60% is still pretty high because I want it to be your work, but at least it's legal. But when we start looking for things and we see that, it was used in this paper, or it's used out of this publication or blog, and it's not cited, that's a real big red flag. So please do that. Number 8, stay consistent in your formatting. If you use bullets that are dots, then use dot bullets. If you use letters, then you continue with letters. If you use those funny looking bullet points, then use those funny looking bullet points. But stay consistent in all of your formatting and the way that you do your headers, etc. Use the same font, use the same font size, that sort of thing. When you give me your first draft at the end of week 4, I'm going to spend a lot of time on it. It usually takes me about 20 to 30 minutes for each one of them. And the reason that I go over it so much is for your benefit, because the final it's a big number. I think it's like 230 points for the final version. So if you take that feedback that I provide for you at the end of week 4 on the draft and implement those things, you'll do much better in the final version. So utilize that, get as much done as you can by the end of week 4 so that you can benefit from that feedback. I will say this too, for all of you that are on the line, without question, and by the way, there's 10 of us, so that's really good. Without question, those people that are on this call, I have seen over and over and over again, will do better. I don't know if it's because you're dedicated students and you take time out of your Friday night to be here, or it's because of the information, but kudos to you. It's a big deal. Number 10, be persuasive. I want you to think about the Shark Tank. When those guys come out there and they do their little 3 or 4 minute pitch, it's really compelling. They create an argument, and you're going to utilize the executive summary to do this, but the whole plan should be persuasive. You should not use verbiage like, we hope that this is going to happen and maybe this. Be confident, and just like you're selling something to anybody. I mean, there's no 100% guarantees, but the tone that you write this in will count for a lot of persuasiveness. So why is your plan going to work? That's what you're really going to tell us. What is the plan and why will it work? Make sure that you review the rubrics for each of the drafts. Well, there's only 2 in this class, but you'll see them in that document, or I think it's in the document. It may be in the weekly or in the course project tab on the left. But each one has a rubric, and it'll tell you all the things that I'm going to be looking for to grade you on. So, for example, week 4, it tells you should have about 4,000 to 6,000 words in this draft. It's going to give you all of the requirements that I'm looking for: a title page, an abstract, a bibliography. And so utilize this because you'll save yourself points and hassle. Questions so far before we get into 11 through 16? And I'll open the mics up.
For the bibliography, is that like references, or do you mean like my bio, like about me?
No, great question, Richard. It is references. Okay. Any other questions before we move on?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me, sir?
I can. And who am I talking to?
Okay, good. Yes, you're speaking to Mark Anthony Hatley.
Hey, welcome.
How's everything with you, sir? Okay, I was having some issues with my computer over here, so I ended up deciding to get on the phone call instead. So I do apologize for getting in. I'm actually late. But I just wanted to touch base exactly where are you actually following your procedure from, so I can catch up.
These are all things that are all within the documents, but I've just sort of pulled the the ones that I think are really helpful and important. So
Okay.
I was able to record this, so I'll send a link out, and then you can listen from the very beginning.
I really appreciate that, sir. Thank you.
Certainly.
Where is the rubric found?
It's in that document, which is the marketing plan outline. You'll find that in the doc sharing. It's one of the later pages, I believe. It's either there, or I'm going to check one other place, or it's up at the other place you might find it is in the course project on the left side of the menu bar. And yes, it is there. That's exactly where it is. It is not in the document, but on the course project on the left. If I can, I'll try and share my screen so you could see that. Yeah, it's not letting me share my screen, but that's where you'll find it.
Hello, this is Karina. Can you hear me?
I can.
Hi. I have a question. As far as the marketing plan, if I have a logo that I would want to use or anything like a competitive analysis as far as like other companies and what they use and how we would do like business, but this will give me the competitive edge. Is that something I could use in my marketing plan?
Not only will you use it, but if you look at the template, there's a section on competitor analysis.
Oh,
So you will need to do that. You're going to look at your major competitors. You're going to talk about what it is that they do. How do they compare with you? What's their market share? What are differentiators that they bring to the table that you may have to compete against?
And would it be okay, like if I wanted to create a logo to just put in it and any type of things that would as far as because I'm doing like more of a business instead of a product or service, would that be good too, as far as or even with the mission statement, things or terms that we might use as far as that type of thing? Is that okay?
I'm not 100% sure of your question. Usually logos are not real relevant for the plan.
Okay.
Not to say you couldn't put one in, but it's usually just a written document. There's graphs and charts sometimes, but I'm not sure what the value would be unless it's something so unique or similar to another brand that you think would somehow give you a competitive advantage. You could do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure. So let's keep rolling here. We'll go through 12 through 16, and then we'll open it up again. Somebody's loud. Let me see here. Okay. Number 12. Make sure that you cover all 6 steps when you do the break-even analysis. This is the reason I bring this up, it's the week 5 assignment, but this same break-even analysis is going to go into your final plan. And I will say that 50% of the students do not complete this correctly. So not only did they lose the week 5 points, but then when it goes into the plan, often it's not corrected as per the response and the feedback that I give. So I'll send out an email the week that's due so that you can see what's going on, with the formula and what I expect. But it's in your book, and you'll see as we get closer, there's a page that talks about 6 steps that you're going to need to utilize and discuss within that break-even analysis. So I want to make sure that you use and address each of those 6 steps and provide a formula so that at the end of that project, the reader will clearly understand I need to sell 4,321 widgets before the business breaks even. Anything after that, we start to make money. So again, I just want you to be aware of it. We don't need to get into the weeds on that yet, but when we get closer to week 5, be aware that that needs to be done. There's a section in the marketing plan that talks about your marketing objectives. And what I need you to do there is be what they call them SMART goals. They need to be specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-bound. So when you talk about a marketing objective, you don't just want to give me something like, well, we want to sell more widgets. Well, you know, obviously we want to do that, but you want to be specific. We expect to increase widget sales by 20% by the end of 2014. So that was specific, it was very measurable, it was actionable, it was realistic, and it was time-bound. You gave me a time. A marketing goal could be, we want 25 responses on social media each week. Again, it's a SMART goal. It's not vague. Be specific. Number 14, another little problem sometimes I see with this plan is the industry analysis, which is 4B if you're looking at the template. The industry analysis is going to require you to do research. There's just no getting around it. If you're going to open a gym, if that's your project, you need to tell the reader about the industry. What's going on in the gym industry? Is it increasing? Is it decreasing? Are there trends? I mean, one trend could be that gyms are beginning to sell smoothies. Yoga is a trend. They're opening meta spas, or I don't know what they might be, but you need to research the industry and let the reader know, because again, you're trying to convince us that this plan's going to work. So if you tell me that that gyms are starting to put in meta spas, and you can back that up through some documentation, and then you tell the reader or the investor that that's one of the things you plan to do, you know, it's gonna add credibility and value to your marketing plan. And of course, the goal is to succeed. 2 more, and then we're done. The executive summary, which is the first thing on that template. I want you, this is confusing to some people, I want you to give you the idea of what's the purpose of the executive summary, and then I'm going to give you some practical advice. The purpose is you're going to create in that executive summary a synopsis of the entire plan. Your goal isn't to talk about your business or why you got started or how great your product is. The executive summary sort of outlines the highlights. And yours is going to be different than your classmates, because you have a different product or service or business. So you might have things that you think are like home runs. That's the thing you're going to talk about in the executive summary. You can imagine, I've read 30 of these, not for college, but I mean for in the real business world. And when an investor reads these, they're not going to read 18 pages. They're going to read 1 page or a half page, and that's the executive summary. And then they're going to decide, do I want to keep reading, or does this sound like a dog? So, and the logistical thing that I wanted to say is, although it appears first in your plan, you should write it last. And of course, the reason for that is you wouldn't know what to summarize until you have the plan completed. So make sure that you do it last. I don't even expect to see it in that first draft. If you put it in, great, it's no problem, but a lot of times I don't even see it, and that's the way it probably should be. The final thing that I had was that if you are stuck, I just hope you know, I mean, my heart is to help you, and so don't do nothing. please be proactive and reach out to me and ask me questions or tell me you're stuck or whatever it might be. I'm here to help you succeed, but I can't do that if I don't know you have a problem. So again, I'm opening up my phone to you and my time, and whatever you need, I'm here to help you. So with all of those things that I shared, I'm going to now open it up for you to ask me anything about this plan, the class, or anything in general.
Professor Tim, this is Richard. You mentioned that in week 6 we're doing the break-even analysis. Is
5.
there in week 5? Okay. What other parts of the plan will be covered in like one of the weekly classes? Or
Great.
right.
The only thing that's due is week 4. You're going to give me your first draft.
Okay.
And then week 5, you're going to do the break-even analysis. And then week 7, it'll be all of it.
Okay, so basically everything else we're to fill in on our own and research it and fill in on our own. Okay.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a big project.
Yeah.
Other questions? No other questions. Jennifer, okay. Jennifer, you even have an exclamation point after your name. I thought for sure
I
that.
do.
Well,
Nope.
okay then. If nobody has any other questions, let me just say again, I'm pretty impressed that you all took time out of your Friday to come join the rest of the class, and hopefully this has been helpful. I'll save the recording, and then I'll shoot out a link for everybody, and you can review it if you want.
Is this going to be the only one of these?
Well, I've always said to the classes that I'm open to doing more, but it seems that mostly from here on out, people either run with it or they'll ask me a specific question. So I've never done more than one, but maybe we will. Maybe we will like week 4 or something, just to, if you think it's
Okay.
valuable.
Well, I think it's very valuable. You get tired of being by yourself all the time in school, and this like engages you and makes you part of something.
I hear you. I agree. Yeah.
Are there any websites that you can recommend for doing the marketing plan?
Any websites?
Yeah, websites for maybe not full marketing plans, but just maybe samples of the different parts.
Example of what have been done in the past in your class.
Well, okay, so 2 kind of questions. I hesitate to post one that's been done before because I think I'd get like 25 versions of the same thing. This is not formulaic in the sense that you can sort of even pattern what you do after what somebody else does, because the products are so very, very different. I will put another one on the doc sharing. I'll do that, in fact, tomorrow, that you can look at. But what I don't want you to do is use that template. I don't want you to use any other version than the one that's in your doc sharing outline. And because it just gets too confusing, you're going to miss sections, but you can certainly look at others. If you Google marketing plans, you will see thousands. There's as many different types as you can imagine, but please use that one that's in the template.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Well, again, thank you all. It's great to see some of you and to hear others of your voices. So I bid you well, and we'll see each other tomorrow in the discussion post.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
Take care.